Hey guys, welcome to Programming Knowledge. In this video, we'll be dealing with the CRUD operations in C++. So, if you're a web developer, you might be already familiar with this term CRUD, which just stands for create, read, update, and delete. Right? So, these are the operations you do on a database. Right? So, now what does this have to do? What does database have to do with binary files? Well, if you see in the last video, I just talked about how we use binary files, right? So binary files, we write objects inside binary files. And what's a database? Database is nothing but a collection of records, right? So how does those two relate? So let's say I have a database of employees. So they might have an ID, name, and what else, they might have an address, phone number, etc, etc, all this information, and then you just store it as a table. So 2, 3, 4, and so on. So ID number 1, all the information, 2, all the information, 3, all the information, 4, all the information, and so on. So this is what a database would look like. And what we're doing in binary files, we're doing the same thing. We're just making new employees. So employee 1 is basically all this information, employee 2 is all this information, and employee 2 is an object, employee 3 is an object which has all this information, and then we're just writing this object. So basically you can think of binary files as nothing but a database, right? So if we are making a database, it should be able to do all these operations. It should be able to do CRUD operations, which is nothing but these things: create, read, update, and delete. And well, update and delete will also include searching a record, right? So how will you update without searching, right? So these operations are something which are really important if you are maintaining a database. So database, you can just, if not a very technical database, you can just think of database as just a collection of records. That's it, right? So to do that, in this video we'll see how to do these operations on a database. And before that, we need to know how a binary file stores data, right? We already know that binary files just stores everything in binary format, but we need to know how it actually stores, right? So let's say I have these 4 records, the same thing, and it is not stored in such a neat table format. What it does is it just dumps all the data in one single line. So you just get 1 all the data, 2 all the data, 3 all the data, 4 all the data, and whatever if you have 100 data, you just get all the 100 things in one single line. So that's how binary files work. And now let's say I want to do operations on this third record. So I want to update or delete or something, or I want to insert a new record in between these 2 records or something like that. If I want to do any operation of that kind, I need to first find this record. So how am I going to find? I need to move to this record, right? So for that, you have something known as file pointers. So just write it down here. You have file pointers which are get and put. So get and put are 2 pointers. Well, both are exactly the same thing. So if you talk about a file pointer, it's just like cursor. So if you think about this whole thing as a file in the memory, this cursor which is blinking over here, that is the file pointer. And get and put are exactly the same thing. Like the task may be different, but basically the pointer is the same. So when you use a get pointer, you actually use it when you want to read data, and put is when you want to write data. And if you are doing both, it doesn't really matter whether you use get or put. It's just for convention, right? So get is used with um, ifstream. Why? Because ifstream just opens a file in read mode, and put works with ofstream because it opens a file in write mode. So these are the 2 pointers, and you have functions to use these pointers, right? So you have this po- function and then a seek function, because we just need these 2 information. So whenever we're working with a cursor, what do we need? I just want to know where this cursor is blinking, and I want to move this cursor to some place, right? So I have these 2 functions, and they're the variations. So tell g is for the get pointer, tell p is for the put pointer. Similarly, you have seek g is for the get pointer, and seek p is for the put pointer. And what tell does, it will just tell you where the cursor is, and seek will move the cursor for you. So you can just pass in like 10 bytes, and it will move the cursor 10 bytes, right? So that is all about the file pointers, and we'll be using this in code, which will be more clarifying for you, because these things are something which you need to understand when you are working with binary files. So that is why in the previous video I told that we need to understand how that read and write statement works, that syntax. You remember that, right? So char star, address of object, and then size of object. Now these things are basically interacting with these functions inside, right? So this whole thing tells that I need to write this whole array of bytes, and this is the crucial thing which tells how many bytes to write. So if you say if let's say my file is over here and I use write method, what it will do is it will just write down, and then it will seek the pointer to, let's say, 10 bytes forward, or whatever the size of the object is. So I am here, I write a new object, I write everything, and then get the cursor and put it over here for the next record to write. So that's how file pointers work, and we'll see how to use that in a short while. So well, we have already run create and read, so we'll do update and delete in this video. And just for a boost, I just have created a very simple class. So I have this employee class which all the attributes are public. So I have a id, name, address, and then I have a simple constructor which does nothing. So this is just to initialize an object, and this is one useful constructor to actually create an object without assigning one by one, right? And I have this info method so that I can just see what this object is, so what are these things, so it will be useful while reading the object, right? So this is the class, and to write this class, as I told you in the previous video, we could not use string, right? Because when we use string, we could not write properly. It's because string is a class, it's not a data type. So what you need to do here is, I'll tell you what to do here, but we'll talk about strings in a later video. But for now, the fix is that first of all, let's talk about the reason. The reason that writing produced some garbage inside that particular file is because string is a class, and you cannot write objects inside objects. So what you need to do is you need to change this to something which is primitive. So you have primitive data types as float, double, and you have integer, long, char. All these are bool. All these are primitive data types, right? So you can write all these things inside a binary file, but you cannot write a class. So well, you can write a class, but the class should consist of primitive data types. It should not consist of some other classes, right? So that is not allowed in C++. So to do that, what you do here is you change this to primitive data types. Now, what is a string? String is nothing but a collection of characters. So what you can tell is string is nothing but a character array. So let's say name is of 30 characters long. So this just like just name it, and if you know SQL, this is the same thing as doing something like varchar, right? So you have something called varchar which does the same thing. You just specify the number of characters you give, and this will create a character field for you. This is basically SQL, so don't well, if you don't know about this, don't worry. But basically the same thing you're going to do over here too. The only reason we use string is because when the string class makes it easy to handle these operations. So I'll just talk about what it is, but basically string class will allow you to work with strings really easily, right? So that's one thing. But for writing you need primitive data type, so we're going to use arrays, right? So address of 50 characters, and now I can just say string name and string address. And now to actually copy the string inside the character array, what I'm going to do here is I am going to include one other header file which is known as cstring. So what this has is, this has lots of functions dealing with the string operations, right, which are not included directly. So if you talk about this, so if I want to copy this name inside this particular array, what I have to do is I need to run a loop, get one character, and paste one inside that. So that is not required. You could just use a function called strcpy, which will just copy a string, right? So strcpy, this takes the source, this destination, which is name, and then the source. And source here is a string. It's what requires is a const char, right? Const char star. So you can just char star is nothing but you can just think of it as an array, right? So because see, when we talked about this, when we are talking about the arrays in our previous videos, when we talked about arrays, we saw that if you declare a pointer to an array, it will point to the first element. So if you are declaring a pointer, it's as good as you are just saying that this is the first element of an array. So that's why generally people use pointers to specify the arrays whenever we are dealing with variable sized arrays, because if we don't know the length of the array, it's really easy to just show that this is the first element and then go these many bytes to get all the elements. So that's how we work generally, right? So that is one thing. And here, to get the character representation, what you do is you have function called dot c underscore str. What this will do is it will give the c string representation of this string. So as I told you, string is a class, so this is an object, and there is a method inside the string class which is c underscore str, which will give you an array of these characters. So that's how you copy a name, copy a string in primitive data types, right? So same thing goes with address. So address, and then you have addr dot c underscore string. So that will copy the things, and that should do it. So now you have successfully changed this thing, and you can just try it out. So employee A, and let's say ID1, name Tony, address NYC, and you can go with, well, let's go with Captain America now. So Steve, and then let's say Brooklyn. So you have these two objects created, and let's just make sure that everything is working fine. So yeah, there's no error, so everything worked fine. Now let's go with the creation part. So let's quickly create function for that. Void create. What you need an employee object. Create is nothing but write, so it's just create or write. It's just called create because you create a new record, right? So basically it's just, you can think of it as writing something inside a file. So employee obj, what you do, you just open a file in OFC mode, right? And let's say details or that. How do you open it? You open it in binary mode, and here what you do, f.write, the syntax, the most important one, character and obj, size of obj, and then you close the file. So that should write an object, right? So now you can just say create A, create B, and if I just run this, I have created this file, and you can just go and check in your directory. You will have this details.dat file, right? Now moving on, let's go to the read operation. Well, these are the things you already know, so it's just going to be quick, right? So yeah, just you don't take anything because you're going to read the entire document. So just say ifstream file, which is details.dat ios binary, and you need an object of employee, so employee obj, and then while you can read, so I have to read character and obj, size of obj, you just say obj.info. So this is the reason I had this method defined over here, right? So yeah, after that, what to do, you just close the file. So now I have already created these two things. Well, one thing I forgot to do is I had to create it in append mode, right? Because once I close the file and once I again open it without the ios append, it's just going to replace the thing. So I forgot about that. So you need to add the ios append file, because you don't want to just keep on creating new ones and just keep deleting the old ones, right? So that is one thing. So just create these two things. We'll just run this again. Well, now it would have appended there, so I'll just delete this and run this again. Run it. I have created two new employees. I can just comment these things out now. I can just do read. Run this. I'll be getting those two things. So ID1, name Tony, address is this, ID2, and all the information, right? So we did CR. Now U and D are remaining. So U is basically what you do is you need to update. And how do you update? You first need to search for something. So first of all, we need to make sure that we have a unique identifier for every object. So this, if you are talking in the language of database, this is known as a primary key, right? So you have a primary key which is unique to identify an object, because if you take in this case you have just name and address, right? So name can be same, addresses can be same, but the ID cannot be same. ID is unique. So here the primary key for our class is ID, and that's how you choose a primary key. Primary key should be unique, and that goes same with databases and also this one, right? But here we're just hard coding that ID is what we want, right? So in update I'm just going to take in the ID which I want to search, and then what I want to update. So well, you can update a whole object, that's also possible, but since well, I did not try to copy constructor over here, so let's just keep it simple. Like, the concept remains the same, right? The concept remains exactly the same. The only difference being that you just update a whole object instead of updating a part of the object. I'm just going to update the address of the object, so I just say string addr, right? And here, now what I'm going to do here is I want to open the file in read and write mode simultaneously. Why? Because once I get to an object, I need to, first of all, I need to search for a particular object, which involves reading the object, right? Which I like, let's say I have these two records. First of all, I need to search whether this record is what I want. So let's say I want to update this employee 2, and I want to update this address. So first of all, I need to read through the entire records I have. I want to first of all find out whether this thing exists or not, and then if this exists, what I'll do is I'll just go back a record and then overwrite it. So that's how it works. You have A, B, C, D, E, 5 records in a line, as I told you. What I'll do is first read A, check it, it's not the thing I want to update. Right. Check B, it's not the thing I want to update. Let's say I want to update C, I'll read C, I'll check it, it's the thing I want to update. I'll go back, update C with the new record. So C becomes F, and then break out of the loop or even go ahead. So it basically depends on the operation you want to do. So let's say I want to update all the addresses of people whose name start with S, something like that. So that kind of thing you don't break out of the loop. But if you just want to update a unique thing, you just do that. You just break out of the loop because it's not worth going forward, right? So that was a quick explanation of how update works. So first of all, we need a boolean variable which is false in the beginning, right? And I will just return this boolean variable so that we know whether an update worked successfully or not. And what else you need? You need to open a file in both read and write mode simultaneously, because as I told you, you need to search and then you need to write. So this is fstream details.dat, and here you need to pass the file. So ios in, ios out, and also ios binary, right? So I opened this file in both read and write mode, and then in the binary flag, right? And other thing is I need a temporary employee object so that I could just put it in the memory and read the information inside that class, right? Now what I do, I just do the same thing as reading a file. So f.read char star and obj, size of obj. Now inside this, what we're going to do here is, first of all, I need to search, right? So this is a searching part. So if the ID which I'm searching for, well, if the object which we read with the ID of that object, whether it's equal to the ID which we are searching for or not, that's what we need to check, and that is searching. So if it is equal, we perform the operation, else we don't, we just move on, right? So let's say it is equal, we got the object. What we need to do, first of all, we need to say that we found the object, so it is true. And then what we do, we just update whatever we want to update. So here in this case I'm just updating the address. So strcpy string copy obj address, and then the new address I just specified. So addr dot c underscore str, right? So I do that, and then where do I have to write this? I need to rewrite this, right? I need to overwrite. So now if I just do dot write, so if I just do f dot write, the same thing, cache star object size of object. I could write a macro for this. I'm just writing it again and again, right? So yeah, anyway, if I just do that, what will happen is, let's say I wrote A, B, C, D, E. I want to change E. So first I read A, checked A, read B, checked B, read C, checked C, and I want to change C. And now if I try to update C, what will happen is, if I just write, I'll just overwrite D. That's what is going to happen now. That's because I'm not gone backwards, right? So what happens here is that I'm just overwriting the next record, not the record I'm at. So I need to go back that record. How do I go back? Remember the file pointers we talked about in the beginning? I have them. No, I deleted those comments, but basically all this get and put pointers, right? So what you do is, you take the pointer, take the put pointer backwards. How much backwards? First of all, get the position where it is. So tell tell the position and go back. How many bytes should you go back? Just go back those many bytes which this object occupies, so size of obj. From where you need to go, you need to travel that position from the beginning of the file. So that will take care of the movement. So what will happen is, what you're saying in this line essentially is, let's say I'm at this position. I'll just say tell g is something minus the size of object. So minus here, from where? From the beginning. So from here I'll just go to this much positions, right? So that is how this cp works, and you just write out that object, and here in the end you can just return that object. So return found, so that you know that you have found something or not. And well, you can also break out of this loop. That's also possible. You can do that. So first we'll just read it, right? We'll first read the initial data. I'll just remove these things. Read the initial data. We have these data. We'll just change this address. So what I'll do is, I'll just say update id to, and then address to, let's say, Baker Street. I'm just changing the address over here. I'll do that, run this, and it works successfully. Well, I did not show it over here, so I just do C out. That will also work. I'll get a 1 or 0, right? So here I got 1. That's because this ID exists. If I do something with where this ID does not exist, I'll get a 0, and I'll show the message to the user that hey, the ID you're searching for doesn't exist in my database. Create a new ID, something like that. So we updated that. Now what we're going to do here is read again. Do that. What do I get? See, the address has been changed, and this is not from the update thing, right? So it has been changed directly inside the file. So that's how you update things inside a binary file. So the same way you could also update the whole object, right? But I did not do that here because I need to create another file, and it take time. But I encourage you to try it on your own. So instead of string, you just have a whole new employee object, and here you just, instead of copying that, you just create a copy constructor over here. So I think you all know what a copy constructor is, and you just need to define a copy constructor so that these IDs get copied, and then you just paste, and then you just do the same thing. You just go back and then write out the new modified object, right? So that's about updation, and now comes the deletion, which is a little bit different. So this is delete, and again this also involves searching. So let's just say pool delete. Well, delete is a keyword. We'll just keep it as del, and then you have a ID. Now what you're going to do here is, we'll first the process remains the same. You first search for the object, so these things remain the same. You just copy and paste this thing. Instead of F stream, you could just say IF stream because it's just going to read it. Right, and here I'm just going to search for that file. So the whole thing you will just copy and paste. Well, you don't need the whole thing. The inside is going to change, the if condition is going to change, and then you just say return form. Right, now how are we going to delete something? Well, we cannot directly delete from a file, just like what we do. Like, let's say I want to delete this. If I just press backspace, this line goes away. But this action cannot be performed using C++ binary file objects. You don't have a delete method inside the object. So how do you delete it? Well, the way you delete it is you just create a copy of this, whatever database you have, the all the records. You just create a copy, but you don't include the thing which you want to delete, right? So well, I'll just explain you it again. So if I have A B C D E, and let's say I want to delete D, so how do I delete it? I create another file called temp. So this is all inside our details.dat file. So these are the contents. So in temp file I want to delete D, so I'll just copy A B C E, right? So if you see here, I skip D because that's the thing I wanted to delete, and then now I have successfully deleted. Now what I'll do is I'll delete this file and rename this as details, right? So if I do that, it will look like I have deleted this thing. So that's how you delete files in C++, or delete records in C++. And to do that, you need another library which is standard input output, because you're going to work with the standard stuff inside the hard disk. You want to rename, remove, and all those things. So those things are available in the standard input output file, right? So here what I'm going to do here is I'm going to create a new file which is called ofstream. Then this is a temporary file, and this is just going to be some temp.dat. I'll do the same thing, iOS binary. And here what I'll do is, if the ID matches, what I'm going to do here is I'll just, well, if the ID does not match, well, if the ID matches, we don't have to do anything. We'll just skip that. But if the ID does not match, what we'll do here is, well, you don't even need this found equal to false. You don't have to search for this. If you think about it, you're just trying to delete something which does not exist. So basically, you just skip it. If it does not exist, you're not going to delete anything. So yeah, you can skip that. This found can be skipped. It's not required. And this return statement too, it's not required. Now if it is not equal, what you're going to do, you're just going to say temp.write, that whole thing. So same thing, char star obj, size of obj, you write that. That's it. That's how you delete a file. Now you have written that. Now what you're going to do is just close those both files. Temp to close. Now you just remove details.dat, and then you rename temp.dat to details.dat. That's it. See how simple it is to delete something. It's just a workaround. You don't have a delete method in binary files, and this is how you delete it. You just create a copy without this record which you want to delete, and then you just rename it in the end, right? So if let's say I want to delete this, first of all read that, delete ID number 1, and then read again. Do that. If I just run this thing, well, everything came at once because there's no new line. But yeah, if I just comment these two things out, because it's already deleted, you don't have that. So if I just do read, you will be seeing that I just have ID number 2. I don't have ID number 1, right? So that's how you do the CRUD operations in C++. You have create, read, update, and delete. Delete is something which is kind of different. You just create a new file with all the data except the thing you want to delete. And update is you write it, you read the object, you find the object where you want to read, and then you update it, go back a record, and then overwrite it. So that's how updation works, and it's the only place where you're going to need to use input and output at the same time, right? And other things are pretty normal. The create and read are something which is we already know about, and this is how you do the CRUD operations in C++. So that's it in this video, and in the next video we'll move forward, and then we'll first talk about things like static, which will make this will id independent of initialization. That means I could, if I want to, I could just say 1 1. So what it'll do is it will just delete all the ones. If this loop runs, it will just delete all the ones, right? If I just print id 1. So I don't want this to happen. I want the id to be generated on its own. So how to do that, that we'll see in the next video, and also we'll talk a little bit about the string class, because slowly we'll understand how to work with the string class. So this is one function you learned today, and this is one header file which you learned today, C string, which basically contains all the functions we need for string. So you have lots of functions in that. So you have strcpy, which is for copy. You have this compare, so cmp is for compare, cmpi is for comparing without the case comparison. That is, it doesn't it ignore the case of the strings, right? And then you have all these functions. So strcat is for concatenating strings. So basically why we use string class is because we want to directly use operators. So let's say I have string a and then b. I could do something like a equal to b using the string class, but this is not possible when using something like a primitive data type. If I use array or something, I cannot do this, right? I need to compare character by character. So these things are the reasons why we use string. But when you're dealing with something where you want to write into the files or something like that, you do have to use the primitive data, right? So that's about it in the video. See you guys in the next one. Till then, happy coding.